What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video here on this lovely Tuesday morning as we transition now and start to get into week 4 of the NFL season. Jets are taking on the Denver Broncos this week. The Talking Jets crew will be in attendance for it. I am amped the F up for this game, but we still have some storylines and some news to get through and a few more days to go before Sunday rolls around. So I want to talk about some news that happened yesterday. Jalen Mills was added to the New York Jets practice squad. Now, I know I'm going to get, I see it already. I'm going to get, well, you're really late on this. And I know I didn't think that a practice squad addition needed the immediate reaction. Because I put out 2 videos and I had one scheduled to come out like 3 minutes after the news came out. I was like, I'll just talk about that tomorrow. And plus, like, who could compete with Jet Central? Ian, I am convinced, has tapped Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport's phones because he is always the quickest with the breaking news anyway. So I'm sure you got your initial reaction from Jet Central. Does a great job with that stuff. Hat tip to my guy, Ian. But I wanted to come on and talk today about like what he actually could bring to the New York Jets. Also, I wanted to mention that we are doing a Jets fan meetup on Saturday. So we have a lot of people coming in for this game against the Denver Broncos on Sunday that I just mentioned. But on Saturday, Green Bean put it together at 3 p.m. We'll be at Pioneers in Manhattan. It's a very short walk from Penn Station. So if you're taking the train in, it's on 29th Street. I'll put the information on the screen and down below in the description, but very casual. Just wanted to get together on Saturday. Green Bean was trying to put together another outing at the Brooklyn Cyclone like we did a few years ago, but the Cyclone is shut down for the season. So we pivoted and we're doing an event at Pioneer. I'll be there. Green Bean will be there. I believe Jake Asman's making an appearance as well. Just want a spot to hang out for a little bit before we go nuts on Sunday. So if you're in the area or just want to come hang for a little bit, we'll be at Pioneers at 3 p.m. So come on by, check it out. So Jalen Mills spent training camp with the New York Giants, so he's already kind of familiar with the area, which is a added bonus. But the Jets add someone who is a very versatile defensive back at this point in his career. He's 30 years old. He's a Super Bowl champion with the Philadelphia Eagles. He played the last 3 years with the New England Patriots. And as I mentioned, the key there with him is that he's kind of a jack of all trades, does a little bit of everything. We'll talk about how he's split up his snaps, but over the last 3 years, kind of converted to being more of a safety player. So he split snaps in the box, at free safety, in the slot, and at corner, specifically the last few years. His final year in Philadelphia into the 3 years that he was with the New England Patriots, we saw him kind of end up playing all over the field. But early in his career in Philadelphia, he played much more outside corner, and he still can, or he still did it, you know, a little bit as he would get older into his career. But I think the Jets are adding him for safety and or slot corner depth. I would be very, very surprised if the Jets' plan with Jalen Mills was to have him be corner depth, because you have DJ Reed, who's coming back healthy now at this point. You have Sauce Gardner, Brandon Eccles played well. You drafted Quantez Stiggers. Like, I just don't see Jalen Mills going back to being that regular outside corner, especially for the Jets. But Michael Carter's been dealing with an injury all year and supposedly will deal with that ankle all year long. So depth at slot corner, and more specifically at safety. Jalen Mills' strength was never really coverage at any point in his career, which I guess kind of makes sense why he ended up changing positions as he would get into his later 20s. But he is fairly good against the run and a solid tackler, all things considered, which it would be an improvement for at least the Jets at free safety. For his career, a 12.9% missed tackle rate. For some context, Tony Adams is up at 16.8% during his career and has gotten off to a slow start in the tackling department. I think Tony Adams in coverage That's his best, but in the run game, I think he gets pushed around a little bit, and he's not a great tackler. The Jets' safety play hasn't really stood out. I mean, it's gotten better than where it was the first 2 games of the year. I thought Chuck Clark in week 3 ended up having a really nice game against the New England Patriots after being a bit of an issue the first 2 weeks. Tony Adams, I thought, settled in as well. Like, just the defense in general looked a hell of a lot better in week 3 than what it did in the first 6 quarters of the season, let's say. But I think it just maybe adds a little bit of pressure or gives the Jets some insurance where if things don't improve to a point for either Tony Adams or Chuck Clark, you have this other option that has started a lot in the NFL, has a ton of experience at multiple positions, and is someone that Joe Douglas knows very well with his time in Philadelphia. He was there in Philly when they drafted him, and he was there for when they won a Super Bowl, and up until through 2018, because Joe Douglas was hired in 2019. So his first 3 years of his career was very familiar with Jalen Mills. Last year for the Pats, he started eight games, played it in 17 games. I don't know if it's a lock that we see him elevated, at least not right away. But intriguing depth nonetheless. As I've gone through in this video, he's someone who has a lot of starting experience. Tony Adams doesn't really have that. He started for the Jets last year and has been the starter through the first few weeks of this season. Again, I don't think he's been particularly great. Safety was an area that the Jets brought up a lot, or Jet fans brought up a lot, with Justin Simmons and Quandre Diggs hitting the market. You had a lot of Jet fans wanting to throw some money at the position. And while I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Jalen Mills is, Justin Simmons level of player, I think there's something left in the tank. And for him to be on the practice squad is something that I'm fine with. Again, if there's an injury or if eventually a few weeks down the line they have to call him up, great. But I don't know if this is like they signed him to the practice squad, get ready because he's going to be elevated, maybe not against Denver, but the following week. I don't know if I'm there yet unless there's an injury or if something really bad happens this week where one of the safeties just looks horrific. But again, nice ad for the Jets and Joe Douglas. Not a crazy, huge, big deal, but I think it's interesting depth. And I want to hear what you guys think as well down below in the comments. Once again, I am Matt O'Leary. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you next time.